Hey there, miniature painters. Today I have an impromptu unboxing of The Witcher: Path of Destiny. This just arrived at my front door about 10 minutes ago, so I'm going to try to get this video out quickly without interfering with our regularly scheduled programming. And yeah, let's get started. Let's unbox this thing. Well, this actually came with two boxes. So this is the stretch goal box. I'm going to unbox the stretch goal box, and I'll be unboxing the core box. Now, when I say that this is an unexpected unboxing, it's because this arrived at my door without receiving any type of notification or tracking number from Go On Board. And let me tell you, there's nothing like having your doorbell go off and telling your wife that you're not expecting anything, and when she answers the front door, she yells across the house, "It's for you, and it's another effing board game." Let me tell you, there's no response to that comment that does not result in me losing an argument and being cut off for a week. And who am I kidding? After being married for 28 years, lucky to get up once a week anyway. And for me, that is usually the 5th week in March for my birthday. All right, so we got a bunch of stuff here. We're gonna unbox this. We're gonna take a look at the miniatures. Nice little packing sheet of what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, they killed a tree with this game. Why do they include all these paper products with my miniatures? I don't understand. It's like some stuff to hold stuff. All right, and we got some character boards here. I'm gonna set these aside so that we can match the art with the characters. Nope, those are character sheets. I'm gonna set that aside to match the art with the characters. More character stuff. More unnecessary stuff. Wow. Whole pack of paper products. Definitely not miniatures. Giant cards. I will not be sleeving these. All right. Hold the phone here. Hold on. Now I know when I say that all that matters are the miniatures, I might have to make an exception in this one video because I am also a neoprene matte junkie. So yeah, I'm such a neoprene matte junkie, actually, that there are many games that I've been completely disinterested in and then took a second look at once I found out that there was a neoprene mat included. I am not saying that this is one of those games, but if it was, I would have backed it anyway. Yeah, that's nice. That is a long mat. In fact, I like neoprene mats so much, particularly when you have to pick up cards off of a cardboard game board. I almost will always make my own custom neoprene mat for a game, such as Lords of Waterdeep or Stone Age, or anything where you have to pick up a card off a game board that's cardboard. I much prefer to use a neoprene mat for that. All right, let's get back to the game box here. Don't know what that's for. All right. And then what we're all here for, the miniatures. And not miniatures, miniature adjacent, wooden shit. If you'd like to see a video where I rifle through the instruction book, thumb through all the cards, make comments about the cards and other paper products involved in the game, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll send you a link to another channel that does that sort of thing, because that shit ain't happening here. Let's zoom in and take a look at the miniatures. These are not taped up, but it is very securely closed. What I'd like to do is take a look at these miniatures and see if there is any reason at all to include these in my weekly painting tutorials. All right, so where should we start? Let's start with Geralt. I'm gonna have to measure the scale on these. They look slightly larger than 28 mil. I'm sure that information is out there. I need to put on my nerd goggles real quick and see if there are any defects here. So now I'm taking a close look with some goggles. Just seeing a couple very small defects. Not a big deal. That would be very easy to clean up. Definite mold line along the shoulder there. That's gonna be, that's gonna be a little challenging to clean up, especially in the deep grooves there. But we'll get her done. In fact, let me jump back real quick and show the character art. There we go. And there he is. Y'all let me know if you'd like to see some painting tutorials on these as well. Next up we have Yennefer. It seems like all the characters have a colored background. With this character, the colored background is purple, which would be very easy to designate her player color with a little OSL from the purple flames, which is fun, and that's something I did for Nemesis. I basically followed the character art and created a really quick cheating OSL with rattle can spray paints to designate the player colors on all the characters for Nemesis. I'm not sure that I'm going to do that here. I think Yennefer is the only character that applies to. Next up, we have Vesemir, and the only reason that I know that I know their names is because I got the character art right here. And I like that the character art is much more colorful than some of the other games that I've painted. So it's going to make painting these pretty easy to follow along with the character art and still have them look very interesting. Then next up, it looks like this may be Ciri. You know, these are not the most outstanding miniatures that I've ever seen. They're not terrible, but they just aren't the greatest. So I believe that is Ciri right here. Now, I don't know if this is an alternate sculpt for Ciri maybe, or if this is Ciri. That is definitely Ciri, just judging from the top. The low neck with the tie right in the center, that is definitely Ciri. Next up, we have Dandelion, the Bard. I do like that these have sculpted bases. That allows me to paint them, make them look entertaining, make them look interesting, without having to base it myself. I used to base all my miniatures, but kind of gotten out of that habit lately, so it's nice to have a sculpted base that I can paint without having to do the extra work of basing it myself. And he looks like he has sort of a magenta color to the background. But yeah, I'm not feeling like any OSL is applicable on these guys to designate the player color. At first I was kind of thinking along those lines like I did with Nemesis, but I don't think that's going to happen with these guys. In fact, I think I'll paint them up to match the character art almost exactly. Oh, these look like score markers for the characters, or possibly companions for the characters. I'm going to say these are score markers for the characters. I like that one. That one's very cool. Well, now this is clearly, I'm going to set this one aside, that is clearly a combination of these two characters put together here. So we have these two characters individually, and then we have them on a single base joined together. And I honestly don't know that much about this game. We are going to move on to the next box. I backed this game pretty early after the creation of my channel, and honestly I did it just kind of to chase the views. I figured if I'm going to do a miniature painting channel, I better have some current miniatures to paint, thinking that I would get more views painting the latest greatest thing. And I'm kind of over that now. It's not really how I approach my channel any longer. But this one arrived nonetheless, so I will probably do some painting for this. Oh goodness, look, more stuff we don't need. And more cardboard. And another dead tree. Oh, there's nothing worse than punching out a whole bunch of cardboard just to get to the plastic miniatures that you want to paint. Maybe these cards here will match up with some of the characters that I couldn't find cards for in the last box. Yeah, we're just gonna pull this whole thing out here, because that's just filled with cards and crap. And more stuff here. Oh man, look at that. Got some nice bags here. Hope this is not a campaign game where you have to remember stuff from one session to the next. Ugh, more reading. No thank you. Look at all that. Colorful, but not necessary. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Yeah, these are definitely score markers for the characters, which is nice. I don't necessarily enjoy spending the time painting this type of thing. This is definitely where speed paints come in handy, is when you're painting stuff that is just a score marker or some sort of tracker. You know, I did paint all of the little trackers and score markers for Blood Rage, so I'm sure I'll do that here as well. I'm pretty excited to try this game out. From what I understand, it's a little more Euro-centric, you know, for a miniatures game. That guy looks pretty freaking cool. Yarpen. Looking at the miniature at first, I pictured him to be much older than that. The character art makes him look a little younger. This sculpt is very cool. She's got a spell book of some sort with a flame rising out of it. Triss. I thought Triss was more of a main character that would have been in the base game rather than being in a stretch goal box. That'll definitely get some OSL from that flame. That'll be fun. Letho or Letho. I wish I was more of a Witcher fan and knew more of the lore for this game, but I don't. This guy here, this miniature, is clearly, this name I'm not going to try to pronounce, Dijkstra. This guy is Dijkstra. I'm going to say that's a silent J. Hopefully it's not a descriptive name. Then next up we have Wolverine's dad. I'm kidding. That is Wolverine's grandpa. And his name is Regis. It's a pretty cool looking character. Got some carcasses on the base there. That'll be kind of fun. So lastly, we have the Crimson Avenger. And the last sculpt in the box is a werewolf. Do these two items go together? Back side of the card. Right now I'm looking at the outfit just to see if they match, and they might. The werewolf does have a scarf around his neck as well, and that very pronounced collar, but the crimson asshole here, I'm not making that up. The crimson asshole isn't wearing a jacket, so I'm not sure. Now I want to go back and read the back of all the other cards. That is hilarious. So the Crimson Asshole is the only double-sided card, and it has the Crimson Avenger on one side and the Crimson Asshole on the other side. Alright, the last miniature. The reason why I backed it online on GameFound was to get the stretch goal box that has this dragon in it. And I'm not seeing much wrong with this dragon. You know, some injection points, definite mold lines. And I hate it when they put mold lines in areas that are heavily textured because it makes them so hard to clean up. That wing finger is definitely textured there, so that is going to be difficult to clean up. Another hellacious mold line right there, right along the front of the leg. This guy might call for an airbrush and an oil wash. But again, let me know if you guys even want me to paint these. I'd have to work it in with my regularly scheduled Cthulhu Death May Die stuff, but I can probably do that. And that wraps up everything from the stretch goal box and the core box for The Witcher Path of Destiny. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to join our growing community of painters.